Welcome back, everyone. Episode 136 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. We're brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on or offline, website design, Google Ads, graphic design, printing, we can help with any of that stuff. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on Instagram or our website, bbdigitalmarketing.com. You can request a review of your online presence today for free. We'll look at everything online about you and tell you where you can improve and what we can help with. My name is Milton Campus. I'm a black belt training out of South Florida. Bo, make sure you say it says black belt right under me now instead of brown belt like last time. We got Bo and Christian behind the camera. Woo! Say what's up, guys.
What up?
So got to get Christian. Christian doesn't. He's not in the.
What up?
There you go. There we go.
Unmute my mic.
Don't forget to like, comment, download, share, do all that stuff. Click the subscribe button. We'd really appreciate the support. Today, joining us is Coach Ben Stark from ATT Palm Beach Gardens, right?
Correct.
There we go. Hang on one second. I got a couple of sponsor reads, and we're going to dive right in. Thank you to our friends over at Flow and Roll. Sean, he's amazing. Hands down the best custom gi and no-gi gear in the business. And I should say, if you look at his reviews online, hands down the best customer service in the business. Don't believe us? Visit them on Instagram at Flow and Roll. It's Flow_N_roll. Check out all their custom designs. They work with academies across the country. Incredible pre-order program, so you have to lay out very little money out of pocket to get your stuff up on his website. Your students can order there. You don't have to worry about paying thousands of dollars for all your inventory. He'll give you the profits, and you can even put that towards the inventory that you actually want to carry in your gym or the academy. Again, at Flow_N_roll on IG, and their website is flowandroll.com. You get 20% off with code JJD on anything that you buy from the website, not on the pre-orders, guys, okay? Thank you to our friends over at BioProtein Technology. BioPro is a bioidentical alternative to human growth hormones. I'm currently taking the BioPro. You see it over actually Ben's shoulder there. I'm taking the BioPro and the BioPro with Quarter Sleep. It helps with anti-aging, metabolism, libido. If you've listened to the show, you know, like that's been like the thing that's really, what's the word, kicked in for me, I guess. Hey, how you doing? Immune system, skin, cognition, as well as sleep and stress. All this with no needles. I'm a believer now. No side effects. You can check them out at bioproteintech.com. You get $30 off with code JJD. And that's it. Those are our reads for today. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you for
having me. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man.
Yeah. So I know you had reached out. I started following you. And then we had John Way on, and John was like, you got to have my buddy on. You gotta have Ben on. Check him out. I'm like, I've been following him. I go, we've chatted once or twice, and we said we'd have you on one day. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. So tell us a little bit about. Let's start with you are ATT Palm Beach Gardens.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about the gym and you know how you came to train under the ATT flag.
So I'm like the 10th member of the ATT professional fight team.
Okay.
So when I joined ATT, it was a 750 square foot gym, 2 blocks from here. Now Boca Black Belt Academy.
Okay.
Like we had 500 square feet of mats, and I kind of got in a way on accident.
Yeah.
I was training at the FAU Judo Club and boxing at the Boca PAL.
Okay.
And just one day, randomly, a Brazilian kid came in and he flying triangled one of the judo coaches, and I was like, where do you train?
Yeah.
He's like, because that's what I was looking for, you know?
Yeah.
As like a UFC freak from the 90s.
Yeah.
I'm like, where? How? And he's like, what are you talking about? He was trying to keep it secret. But,
Yeah.
you know, he took me down. I started training at one of the affiliate schools, and I was very competition-minded. I started competing early, and Edson introduced me to Laborio.
Edson Barbosa?
No, Edson didn't is. This was like,
this is way back.
23 years ago or something.
Edson Barbosa was in diapers then.
Yeah. But he introduced me to Lebo. We hit it off.
Mm-hmm.
I had a falling out with that coach. And, you know, I lived at FAU, so I was driving to, like, Atlantic and 441 to train. And then, headquarters is 2 miles away.
So you said something about Boca.
Yeah.
I know when ATT got on my flag at first, it was over on, like, it's in Coconut Creek.
Yeah.
Not the big building. Not the headquarters now, but the one on, what's that road? There was
Johnson.
Johnson.
So,
and I know it because my sister lived right like across 441 in Parkland.
So when it started, it was Billy and Marcelo, and it was just a small gym.
So you're going way back before even
like,
Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, I think we were there probably 2 or 3 years before the first Johnson building.
Okay.
Like Dan had got a big building. It wasn't ready. So they gave us like a 10,000 square foot spot. We were there for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then they were like, hey, the big one's open. So we jumped over to the 17. And we were there for over a decade.
Really?
And then, then Dan built the 40,000 that's open now.
My, if I'm not mistaken, my niece and nephew are friends with his kids. So my sister's kids are friends with his kids.
Oh, awesome.
They're all there in that Parkland area. I don't know if they went, I don't know if, Cardinal Gibbons? I don't know, did his kids go to Cardinal Gibbons?
I don't know. Honestly,
they went to Cardinal Gibbons. My niece and nephew went to Cardinal Gibbons. I know that. I don't know if they know them through school or just from the area or playing football. And I don't know what his kid. I
haven't seen his family since I moved to Thailand. So probably like 2011.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So it's been a minute. I got back in 2014. Then I moved to Germany, Colorado, and then opened up my own school. So
How long have you had this school here now?
We opened in 2015.
Okay.
So coming up on 9 years.
Was COVID a bitch?
Dude, honestly, we got super lucky. So Palm Beach Gardens is a very like Republican area.
So nobody messed with you guys?
I played it super close, my mother-in-law had lung cancer. So I was playing it really tight. Okay. You know, I'm wearing masks, I'm wearing like spit shields, I'm wearing like an air purifier just to make my wife happy. I've always been healthy. So I'm just like, I'll be fine. But, you know, for grandma's sake, we'll do it.
Sure.
And they were putting out crazy stuff. You know, if you get caught breaking the rules, they were going to fine you like $28,000.
Really?
And I don't have that kind of income sitting around, you know?
Yeah.
So I played it really tight to the vest, but we were only like closed for like 2 months.
Okay.
You know, and when we reopened from COVID, it was actually quite a boom for me. We had so many people.
Even wanted to get the fuck out of
dude. They were
person. See, I told you I was the first one to break the rule. It was a lot of people
dying to get out of
I want to get out of the house, and what am I going to do? And I'm working from home now, so I have to do something to get me out, right? I mean, I felt like that happened at my gym too.
Dude,
not my gym, the gym I train in. You know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, COVID for me was perfect. I had a baby. My wife had a baby.
You look great for just having a baby.
You. Oh my God. I've been working out. Okay. Bio Pro Plus. But we had the baby 6 weeks before COVID hit. So in a way, it was awesome because you've been in a gym.
Yeah.
I'm in there from 9 to 9. There's no time for the baby. There's no time to help bottle feed. There's nothing. So I got to spend the first 2 months. I got to spend the first 2 months like really like bonding with my kids. So I was ecstatic. And then I was like, oh wait, I'm losing so much money. Yeah. We're going broke. Yeah, so
I don't own a gym, so I could just see it at my gym when I did go back. I blew out my knee the day before I was going into quarantine for work. Like it was beginning of COVID. So I didn't train for 9 months. My school did the whole like black bags on the windows, and then they put tint, and they were really open, unofficially open. It's like, hey guys, we're not training today.
Yeah.
The not
guys,
was like,
don't show up at 6.
Don't come today. We are definitely not having an open mat on Saturday.
Yeah.
So, but I just wasn't around for that 9 months anyway. And then when I went back, it was just like a whole bunch of new faces, and we actually wound up a whole bunch of people from ATT from headquarters started to train with us because they basically, when they did open, no more civilians, no kids program, right? And I guess like a couple of other ATTs open in the area. So we did get a bunch of guys, like those weren't even open yet. Like we were open, there was like nobody else was really open. Yeah. And we did get a couple. I actually trained with a guy that's from ATT that stuck with us. So it wasn't like the worst thing in the world. Let me just say this too. So in the marketing world, I was working for another company, and the first month they had a hit list of who they were going to fire because they thought the business was going to go in the toilet. 100 employees. They asked every manager for like, who can we let go? And they were getting ready to be like, we're going to trim the fat. We get through, that was March, I believe. We get through March, month over month, for 2 years, except for 1 June, our sales went up every single month. Yes, like our restaurant clients were closing and things like that, but real estate market took off. Everybody was so it was like it got replaced with other industries, and then it just took off. Gyms closing, like lost those kind of clients. But for almost 2 years, we just constantly went up. 1 June, we were down from the previous month, but still year over year, like the June was better. And they had a shit fit, like, oh my God, what you guys suck. You salespeople suck. And then I wound up leaving, but it carried over to my company as well, where it was just like, it was getting busy. Like people, yes, companies and industries took a hit, but those people went out and started businesses, and it's just been for at least, like marketing companies is a good like finger on the pulse of what's going on in the world, like business wise, and it's just been month over month and growing, and COVID treated me good too. Is my overall? You said that at the beginning, like COVID treated me good. I got it once. Nobody close to me really. Nobody died.
Did you have any close calls? Like train with a guy and then be like, "Hey, dude." We
had no outbreaks in my gym. We've still to this day not had an outbreak. I mean, occasionally we've got like a bunch of guys get hit with the flu, but nobody's ever tested for COVID. So we've been pretty good. It really like unaffected.
Yeah.
I know like, a lot of gyms had to close in other parts of the country, but I mean, I feel like we got lucky.
We got super lucky with how the government handled it.
Yeah, definitely. Things were handled a little bit differently here. And then, again, then the real estate market took off. So if you had bought a house before, you're doing great.
Hey, if you're from New York or California and you moved to the Palm Beach area, I would like to say sincerely, fuck you.
Go home.
And please go the fuck back. I was trying to buy a house. Okay. I was willing to go all the way to Port St. Lucie, which is like an hour north of me, just to afford a house. Because, West Palm and Broward.
Yeah.
And I get in there and I'm like, oh, awesome. 3 2s around 290. Like, I can do this, bro. Like, I can own a house. Within 8 weeks, that same house was 360.
I know.
It was insane.
Same exact story. I got married over New Year's holiday, went on a cruise, got married, came back. We had put our house for sale, took it off when we left because we're like, we're going to be gone. We have to plan this wedding. So we took it off for a few months, came back, put it back on February 1. March, we went into quarantine. We got a contract by March, got our money. We're ready to go. We had been looking at houses, so we went back to those houses, and all of those houses where people were bidding 20 to 50,000 over the asking. And we couldn't do that. We weren't going to do it. Just like and I wound up finding a pre-construction in Coral Springs, did that, sold it after 2 years, and just knock on wood, we did well.
Yeah.
And all because of COVID. So again, COVID's treated me good. I mean, I feel bad for people that lost people. I get that, and the world has gone crazy. But personally, it didn't hurt me. I left the job because my role changed because of COVID.
So you're looking forward to the new COVID.
Yes. What is it? Which one is it?
I think it's like Cold X.
I just don't think that this country wouldn't go through that again. Like this whole there's
certainly
already
Florida.
certain areas are already like we're talking about the mask mandate again. Oof. Good fucking luck trying to get that done in any place like Texas, Florida, the more conservative states. It's never going to happen. People could be walking down the street dying, falling over dying, and you're not going to get people to believe that they need to wear a mask or that it's going to work.
I didn't have much of an issue with the masks, but I think it was because I lived in Asia for a few years. So like in Asia, like
kind of normal to see it.
Super normal. Yeah. Well, one, the air quality is a little worse. Like I lived in Bangkok, so it's like New York traffic heavy.
Yeah.
So the air quality is low because it's just gridlock everywhere. So it's not abnormal to see people put on a mask just to walk to the train or do whatever, just because the air's a little dirty. But the culture, like Buddhist culture, is very much like to simplify, like be cool, man. So like, even if you're not sick, but you're like, man, I just don't feel myself. You just throw a mask on when you leave the house.
Yeah.
Do your thing. It's like a nothing. No one even considers it.
So like, there's nobody like, oh, that person's wearing a mask.
No, not at all. There's like, you good? Yeah, my nose is running. All right, man, cool. And like almost a brush off.
Yeah.
So it wasn't ever an issue for me. But then when it started getting like really weird, I was like, all right, hold on.
Yeah. Like
common sense has left the building. Let us reconvene. Yeah. But who am I? I'm just a jock who rolls around with dudes.
Yeah. Right, rolls around with other guys in his underwear. What do you want me to do?
No spats. No, yeah. I do not need to see your mushroom print, sir.
I do believe if you wear spats that you must wear shorts over the top. I do not want to see.
You got to wear a cup at the very least.
How do you feel? I've had that conversation. I know somebody that wore a cup, and I'm like, you do realize that I didn't know he wore a cup in the morning. I'm like, what is pushing against me? Is that his pelvis? Like, is it his pelvic bone? And then I said something. I go, you do realize, like, I made a comment. And he asked me, should I not be wearing it? And I'm like, just think about, like, if you really truly got an armbar, you're really pressing that into somebody. So if I remember correctly, advocate for it or
IBJJF is illegal
to wear
cups.
Okay.
But MMA is mandatory.
Illegal in IBJJF.
That's
okay.
what I was I do not condone the IBJJF. Yeah. I'm not a fan.
No.
Like, I haven't competed in 9 or so years. I'm a full-time coach.
Sure.
But you want me to pay you $500 a year to prove that I'm a black belt?
Is that what is that what it costs to be, like, to have the association, or to like have your school registered, or you personally?
For me to be a black belt certified by the IBJJF, it's a couple $100 a year. I believe last time I checked, it was like 4 or 5. And then if my coach doesn't pay that same money, my black belt doesn't count to them. Okay. So you got to have your entire lineage paying them, just so I
could you not you would, if he doesn't maintain, you can't compete under that school name. You have to.
I have to go to, like, a different black belt who does, and then I can't represent, like, ATT PBG.
Yeah.
And my students can't register as being members of my club because I won't pay them. Okay. Because that's larceny.
Yeah. Like, so you don't.
Nuts.
So you don't.
I don't mess with IBJJF.
Yeah.
I just think they're grimy, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, I didn't know all that.
Yeah, like, now they charge their white belts. I think a membership's like $60 a year. Blue belt's like $100 something. Purple belt's
membership, just to have your
to be a card carrying IBJJF person. So you're
I thought it was a one-time registration.
What I read was annually, and maybe it's a coach that has to renew.
I think maybe. But, like,
you have to be a member, which you have to pay for. Then you have to pay for your tournament. And I was like, I'm out. The tournaments are $120, $150. How much more do you need?
So I'm gonna take the other side of the argument, just to be devil's advocate. If you are somebody who wants to, what's the right word? Like, you're going to do this as a profession. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you do kind of need an IBJJF to build your name, to get the experience, to get the exposure, to then get the WNOs and the fight to wins, and, like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to kind of be part of some circuit to get found. Now, not
yes.
If you're not looking to be famous, or, like, this isn't your career, is it necessary?
I think it's the fastest route, because they are the longest standing and the most acclaimed of the I guess, organizations. You know, but now you have legitimate competitors. You have IBJJF, you have Jiu-Jitsu World League, then you have all the super fight shows, and then if you're talking no-gi, like ADCC.
Yeah.
I would put ADCC above IBJJF.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
You know, if for no other reason than they pay. And the fact IBJJF is like, oh, our world champions at black belt get $2,000.
They're paying for money to winners.
Right. Like,
what do they pay? Top 3? Do they
if I remember correct, I don't remember what they break down. So I was on film crew for ADCC 2005.
Okay.
So what I remember was, if you win your division, it's like $25K. If you win the absolute, it's $75K.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And, like, IBJJF's like, if you win worlds, it's $2,000.
And this
here's a $4 medal. Like,
so I mean, I definitely, if I was a coach in a gym, I mean, it's I get both sides of the argument, but if somebody was like, hey, coach, I want to compete, I would. Have you had a student like, I want to compete, like, hey, you got to compete under him, or do you just totally, like, don't?
So when I had guys compete in IBJJF, they were mostly white belts, blue belts, and it was before they forced them into the memberships, because it used to start at purple belt, I think. So it wasn't much of an issue. But then you go and they're like, oh, you're not allowed in the barricades. You're not allowed to be mat side coaching. You have to stay over there. Oh, and if you don't have this one, you have to just be in the bleachers. And I'm like,
yeah,
you can't coach your guy.
Do you think ADCC, with their basically the tournaments, they basically are now the main competitor? Because what was it, every 2 years? ADCC was every 2 years. I think. Was it every 4 years before? Because now it's going to be every year.
Great.
With a tournament system.
Hell yeah.
And a tournament system in between, where kids to adults,
I will say this,
can train.
It seems ADCC and IBJJF are the only ones that actually track their small, regional, coastal, national,
and ranking,
right?
Like ranking the fighters.
Because we go to New Breed or Naga, and it's like, this is the South Florida Crystal Cup or the Southeast Championships.
There's literally nothing different about that tournament.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It's but it's just a time to get experience. Now, like, if you tell me, oh, I'm a white belt world champion, dude, that's pretty good. There's some really gnarly white belts out there. But in reality, it's not really going to carry a bunch of weight until you got some color on your waist.
Yeah.
And even then, like when you talk to black belts who are world champions, they're like, oh, I'm a 5-time purple belt, 4-time brown belt, 1-time black belt. You're a 1-time black belt world champion. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one cares about your purple belt.
So
I mean, you do. Your friends do.
Yeah.
But
I do think until you understand how many competitions that are going on around the country and around the world on any given weekend, I do find it funny, like when somebody like purple belt world champion, IBJJ, like, okay, but what event? Where was it? Or maybe it just says IBJJF champ, or they put IBJJF and then the gold medal. It's just kind of funny to, I want to know, like, how many fights did you have that day? You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's so much more that goes into it, and until look, I competed a little bit at white and blue, and one competition at purple, all new breeds because it was local in Coral Springs, and I was just like, I can go here, 5 minutes from the house. Perfect. And I did them. Had a heart attack. It stopped. I was just not on the mat or anything. I had a heart attack. So my cardio never got back to normal, and I'm like, I just can't do this. I'm not going to train. I have been talking to people about, like, I would like to do it at black belt, but at black belt now, it's like I'm a brand new black belt, and I could be fighting people that have been a black belt my age for 20 years. Yeah. Right. So now it's like it's daunting to think about it like that. But hey, I think I'm going to do it eventually in the next couple of years. I'm going to prepare myself. But I have only done the new breeds. So I really only know that system. I never did an IBJJF because, again, I started jiu-jitsu at 41, so it wasn't like I was like thinking, I didn't know where this was going to go. So I was like, oh, let me do this local, tournament. So I never fought anybody my age. Everyone was half my age. Never fought anybody my weight. Everybody was usually younger and maybe a little smaller than me. Did well. I was happy with my performance until I did the purple belt, which I had already had the heart attack. And I was just like, I just got wrecked cardio-wise. Like, my heart was just pumping. I really felt like it was going to pop out of my chest. I'm like, oh my God,
sounds
what am
terrifying.
I doing? It is. It is until you start to kind of realize, okay, it's a lot of it's in your mind. And now because you had a heart attack, you're constantly, when you feel your body, maybe like you feel like you're wrong. Pumping, right? You feel it. Think about, like, you are literally, your mind is so laser focused on how fast your heart is beating that it's hard to. But I got away from that. Now I don't even think about it.
Did you find that the BioPro Plus?
I do think that the BioPro has helped me. I don't know that it's going to be the thing that gets me on the mats, but I do feel I really do take it, and I really do feel like it's changed. I do take two different things. I always am super
trend.
I take something called Astroflave.
Okay.
Which is a testosterone, like over-the-counter testosterone booster, right? Makes your body produce more testosterone. Then I started taking this, and I just got my blood work done, and my they do like the testosterone, free testosterone, whatever it is. My testosterone was up 30% over, in the time that I was taking BioPro, my testosterone's up 30% over the previous blood test 6 months before. What kind of numbers are we talking? My free testosterone, I think my free was 63. And a buddy of mine that's taking TRT is like, oh shit, my last test was like I was at 40. But there's free testosterone, and then there's another total. There's a total and a free. The free is supposed to be the more accurate one. Okay. And I thought that was low at 63, and he was just like, my last one was at 40. He's like, oh, but I didn't do this. And I'm like, I'm thinking you're going to be like off the charts. So I'm super comfortable with it. But we were just talking about it before the show. I've been like the advocate for, like, don't put anything in your body. Don't put anything with needles into your body. Like, starting to inject stuff is. But I'm thinking about it. I'm 50, and a bunch of people that I know the place that they go to, and I've gone and I've got my blood work done, and thinking about doing the TRT. I have to go to my cardiologist next month, and I basically need to have a permit. She's already told me I could do it, but I never got her to write me. Like, they literally want a note from my cardiologist. So I'm going to go in February, go for my annual, and once I get cleared, then I'll get the note, and I think I'm going to give it a try. I mean, I know so many guys that are just like that are doing it.
I want to do it so bad.
Anybody want to sponsor us?
Just putting it out there, guys. You could have this
pushing you. So there's the place that I went to is actually in Delray. I'm not going to give the name a shout out yet.
We got.
He's a Henzo Gracie. He might be a brown belt by now. I went there a year ago. He was a Henzo Gracie purple belt, and so one of my training partners knew him. So he just like directed a bunch of people. There's actually a location. It's a franchise, so there's one closer to me. But figured, hey, let me go to the. He took care of us to like cut the blood work in half and the cost of the blood work in half. So. So I'm gonna go to him. Just jiu-jitsu guys, right? Yeah, you do jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I'll travel 5 hours to buy your product, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna do it again. And I figured because I come up to Boca, it's a short. Like if I make my appointments after this, I could go up and do my thing. So I'm actually gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it. I've sat here in this chair and been like, a big part of why I think I had the heart attack is I did do steroids. I did take steroids in my 30s. And my doctor, when I was on the table to get stents, like they rushed me to the hospital after the heart attack. I wasn't on the floor writhing in pain. I was like, you felt like somebody was sitting on my chest. I went to the hospital. They're like, yeah, we see an anomaly here in your EKG. They put me in an ambulance, and the ambulance guys are the ones that told me, like, you've had a heart attack. You did have a heart attack. We're taking you over, but they saw me in good spirits, and I was joking with them that they were like, felt like they can give me the news, because what happens when you tell somebody they have a heart attack? They might have another fucking heart attack, right? So I'm in the they were just happy to be able to like run every red light. They had to take me from Coral Springs to Fort Lauderdale. And it was like we were joking around. I was in good spirits, but when they bring you right into the room where they're going to go in with the catheter and go right into your heart.
They do a vein or an artery catheter?
They go through the
femoral artery?
Yeah, I guess right in the hip, right?
Okay.
In the leg. They go up, and they put the little bag in there to clear the arteries. But then they have to put in stents.
How excited were you that they went in through the vein and not your dick?
Can they go into the? I don't think they can go into the dick.
A traditional catheter goes into your bowel.
No, but that's to pee. That's to pee.
Like,
no, this is like to go. They literally. You could see it's funny because they don't put you out. They don't knock you completely out.
Oof.
So you're on the table. She's going in, but she's looking at the two screens above your head. So again, my memory from like you're kind of coming in and out, but you're not totally out. It doesn't hurt, but she goes in, and I just wind up kind of like waking up, and I'm looking at the screens, and you could see the snake, whatever, the catheter going around your heart. So it was kind of like, but you can't really react to it because you're like, it's like you're drunk, but I could see it. And I remember like going around. I had to go in twice. I went in the next day. They put 3 stents the first day and 1 stent the next day. So I had 4 stents. But my point was that when I was on the table, she didn't come in and introduce herself. She didn't ask me my name. She came in and she goes, "You taking steroids?" And I said, "I did do steroids in my 30s years ago." And she goes,
Yeah.
And then I'm like, that was the conversation.
Were you hitting it hard?
So in my mind, no, you know what? I think not that I hit it hard. I know that I probably fucked up because I didn't come off properly. I just like one day I'm like, all right, I'm done. And I just stopped taking stuff, and then you fucking throw your body into a fucking whole hormonal, now your body's producing estrogen and it's trying to replace, and you have all these problems. And I'm not a doctor, I don't know, but I definitely shouldn't have taken the steroids. And I definitely didn't like wean myself off to get my body back. I just like one day I just stopped.
But like even,
and I did do HGH at the time too. So
this was what, 20 years ago?
In my 30s, yes.
Yeah, so. The information on gear and steroids 20, 30 years ago was nothing.
Yeah, it was like you're getting it from your buddies and like Yeah,
now like there's a guy I follow online. He's like a 30-year-old bodybuilder, and he's like basically a pharmacologist. Like, I have an FAQ, here's our structure, here's our chemical compounds, this is what we're looking for taking, here's what you want, blah, blah, blah. And here's how you get on and get off. Yeah. If you get on this, you can never get on. Like, I didn't do any of that. I literally was it wasn't even available. Taking pills and injecting HGH and So I'm definitely I feel like I'm ready to do it now that I understand a little bit more, and I didn't really fully understand that like TRT isn't steroids, right? TRT is and then there's the over-the-counter stuff that'll make your body produce versus injecting yourself with it. So I'm 50. I can't live forever, and I want to. In the time that I have, I want to. Hell yeah!
You're doing that too.
So I'm 41.
And then I'm going to do the IBJJF competitions. Yeah. Since they're not testing anymore.
Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support.
Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
No bullshit. I've only ever taken silver medals. I stopped competing in jiu-jitsu when I was a blue belt because I started fighting.
Okay.
But in all of my tournaments up until that point, only silvers, 1 bronze. But I never took gold, only silver. So in that case, IBJJF would never have to test me. Because they only test the winners. Me and Craig Jones.
So just make sure you lose.
Second
Moral of the
place.
story: just lose.
Please.
So yeah, I mean, would you do it? Is it something you would do, or
I've been
you look
toying
into?
with it forever. So like, I don't remember my free numbers. I remember my total numbers. But I went like, I got tested the first time at 31. It was like a total of 620. A couple years later, 520, 320, 520. And I'm like, that's not that bad. Like when you look at the scales, I'm like, I'm average, middle. But I haven't been checked now in like 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm 41. I definitely feel different. Like I feel good. This is the first time in my life that I've lifted consistently for like more than a year.
Yeah.
And it's dramatic. Like I've made real like differences, but I'm noticing is like, oh, I'm not losing fat anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm just
That's the big thing for me is I'm
strong and I'm big, but I'm chubby.
I don't feel like how old are you?
41.
41. I don't at 50. I'm working out every other day with weights. I try to do jiu-jitsu one day, work out the next, maybe one day off of everything, on the weekend maybe. Depend, just how I work it in. I definitely don't. I'm working out with weights more and with heavier than I ever had, and I just don't feel like I'm putting on the mass like I used to. I know I'm not putting on the mass, right? We're older. You're just not going to. And then again, like the fat coming off is just like a challenge. The only thing that I've been able to do to lose weight, and it's hard to stick to, is intermittent fasting, where I have 2 meals a day, big lunch, don't eat after 5 at all. That I could see myself losing like a half pound a day, but it's really hard to stick to, especially I do jiu-jitsu at night. You come home, you're fucking hungry. I try to stick to a protein shake or something, or like something healthy, but the protein shake, all right, let me put a banana, maybe put some peanut butter, and then I'm like, well, I can have some grapes. Oh, there's a little ice cream in the and then it's just like, now you're eating and, so that's what's hard for me. But if I can stick to the intermittent fasting, it's truly the only thing at this age that's worked for weight loss, no matter how much. Oh, we're doing cardio, we're doing jiu-jitsu, you're doing stand-up, right? You're throwing hands. It's incredibly hard to lose weight doing the things that we do. I can maintain, but with the intermittent fasting, I definitely lose weight.
Yeah.
I had the flu recently, lost 6 pounds.
Hell yeah,
and
dude.
And I gained 3 of them back, right? So I was like,
hey,
fuck,
that's a net positive,
that's,
my guy.
that's the best weight loss program I've had is getting the flu. But yeah, it's fucking hard. I also take like with the BioPro, I was having a problem like with like recall. So like I'd be here and I couldn't like even like I can feel it getting better. Like I know who Craig Jones is. How many times I've been like, the funny guy, and I'm like, it's fucking Craig Jones. I watch his shit every day, and I couldn't. I know it. I see his face in my brain. I know I could, and I couldn't grab the name. So I was like, fuck, and that started to help me. And then when I started to see it get better with the BioPro, I was just like,
promo code Jiu-Jitsu
what else?
Dummies.
What else can I take? And then I actually started to do the Alpha Brain.
I love Alpha Brain.
I take the Alpha Brain, and I kind of feel like everything together, the Astroflave, this and that. It's a good combination. I don't feel 0 side effects from anything, but I definitely feel a difference in my energy level and that, like the recall. Still not perfect. Every once in a while, I'll just like test myself, like start rambling off like famous people.
But how's your libido?
Ridiculous.
That's what I'm talking about.
Ridiculous.
That's what I'm talking about.
My buddy's like, if you're feeling off the charts now. He goes, when you do the TRT, you better. I got divorced over the summer, so I'm like,
Are your kids
I'm
all
single.
old enough to be out of the house?
I have a 30-year-old daughter and a 19-year-old stepdaughter.
Stay out.
Yeah,
Daddy's going out this weekend.
The libido definitely took off, and the guys that I know that are on TRTs is at least at very much in the beginning, they're like, you better have a girlfriend.
So
you better have a girlfriend.
when I was living in Bangkok, I had gotten tested and my levels were at like 320.
He said Bangkok.
He's not Bangkok, honey. So my levels were low. So I had done more research, right? And I contacted an endocrinologist, and he's telling me, because TRT isn't really a thing in Asia.
Sure.
You know? And he's like, I work with, diabetics. What are you looking for? And I just explained, like, look, my numbers are down, this and that. I have a very active lifestyle. I'd like to be able to keep it up. And he goes, okay. And he gave me a decent monthly dose, but he administered it to me awkwardly. So I got 250 nanograms of basic test monthly. But instead of doing like 70 a week, he did 250 on the 8th. See you next month. Like, so let me tell you,
So
bro.
you were basically walking around with a boner.
Bro. So and the girl I was dating at the time had just taken a semester abroad to Beijing. So I was just alone, just walking the streets. And
Is that when you really built those muscles up in your
this one tricep right here, backhand it, dog. You're gonna let me get the cuts.
You go
That's
this
my
way?
whoop.
You go this way?
Well, I figured that out in high school, because my forearms started cramping. So I was like, let's work.
Let's
the
go back.
opposite side.
Let's go the four fingers over the top.
You know what I'm saying? You can only be
I am
single
sorry
for so long.
to any of the kids that listen to the show. We do have a lot of kids.
If you haven't figured that out
Turn this one off. You might not want to listen to this episode. Turn
things
it
are
off.
gonna get dark. So there I was living in Bangkok, going to Nana Plaza.
Did you? Yeah. Obviously, it was off the charts, right? You were.
Oh, dude,
you were
so
like,
that was the thing.
so
Like,
fucking.
I remember,
Good place to be. That
Dude.
horny, huh?
No, because like I'm a pretty strong germaphobe.
Really?
3.5 years in Thailand, never a dirty hand job, never a hooker.
Really?
Nothing. I dated the same girl the whole time I was there. I met her after a handful of months, but I'm also a little socially awkward. Hard to believe, I know. But like my whole thing was like, I don't speak the language. How am I going to flirt? I'm just going to kind of be like another dickhead foreigner who's just trying to get their dick wet. But I live here. I'm trying to like make a life. So I just didn't. I'm a bit work obsessed, which I think is pretty common in our fields. So I just worked and worked and worked. And then by chance, one of my students, some of his college friends came to a tournament, and just randomly the girl sitting next to me and I hit it off. And I was like, cool, everything's fine.
Did you ever learn how to speak the language, or was
What
it?
time I didn't know in the cop?
Yeah, there you
Like,
go.
I'd say like this. I could talk to a taxi driver. I can order food pretty
I was going to
easily.
tell that you could order food. I bet.
I can order food. And I can talk a little sweet,
Yeah.
but that's it.
Yeah.
Like, not politics or like.
You could talk me out of my
math.
pants. You can be like, "Hey, Mel."
It's not. Kun la ma.
He's ordering food right now. And we don't even. We couldn't tell the difference.
Kun is you. Law is handsome. Mock is very. Kun la ma.
There you go.
Here's something for it. Next time you're going to eat Thai food, don't eat at a Thai place that doesn't have Thai people, okay? Because they're just going to give you Chinese food. But if you're a man and you're I'm a spicy guy, you say Pet Kun Thai, spicy like a Thai person. They're gonna tell you no, and you should take their advice. But if you hard like that, insist. Pet Kun Thai. Cop.
It's gonna be hot as fuck,
Bro, you gonna die.
Yeah, really.
So when I first moved back, my best friend's a high-end sushi chef, Japanese guy, and he's like, "Hey, fancy pants, take us out for Thai food." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So we go, and he wants me to order for everyone. My Thai sucks. It's been 10 years, but at the time, pretty sharp. His roommate's like, "I do like super spicy. I like it like super hot." And I'm like, "No, you don't."
Oh shit.
And she's like, "I do." So everyone orders, and she's like, "Make sure it's hot." And I was like, "This is the wrong place. Like, these are real Thai people. Don't do this." And she's like, "Do it. Order." And I'm like, "Pet Kun Thai?" And the lady goes, "No." And I'm like,
Just her. Just her.
I was like, Al Kunt Hai, Yao Pet Mak Mak. And they go, okay. Dude, she hit it with, she used a fork, which is the first sign this is a bad idea. And she like gets it here and like gets it to her mouth. Bro, I could, across the table, it's like burning your eyes.
Really? Wow.
Bro, they don't fuck around.
Yeah.
Like when I got there, I was a vegetarian. And I had a bunch of Japanese students, high-end businessmen, like ferociously high-end businessmen. And these guys fucking party, dude.
Yeah.
Party. We're talking, they light themselves on fire. Like, one guy climbed 2 6-foot stack speakers naked in one of the hostess's dresses, and he's like, they're the best. I love them with so much, so much. Either way, we go out afterwards, and we're just eating street food. So to go to the bathroom, you got to go to the mall, like down the street. One of the guy's wives is there, and I was like, hey, give me some tum salad, just like papaya salad. I was like, not spicy, because I just moved. Like, I knew better. Not spicy. She goes, no problem. I go, I come back, I take a bite, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And she's like, no, spicy. And I look, and there's more pepper or chilies than papaya. And I'm like, this has so much. She goes, oh, 15 chili, no spicy, very easy. And I'm like, oh my God. I almost literally lost it on the streets. Like,
yeah.
No, it was horrible. But you get used to it.
You went there to train?
So, okay. I'm acquaintances with Eve Edwards. We used to train in the same room.
Okay.
I would love to say we're friends because I fucking love Eve Edwards.
Yeah.
But like, we didn't get to hang out that much.
Yeah.
We were like training buddies.
Would he remember you if you ran into him today?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. But that's about as close as it gets.
Yeah.
Good acquaintances.
Sure.
And I got news of a job offer at Fairtex Benpli. And I was just talking about it. He goes, oh, I actually know the guy hiring. So he made some calls, but that job didn't work out. I was teaching for Roger Crawl at Top Team Sunrise. Well, now the Martial Art MMA Science Academy.
Okay.
I was teaching for him, and he just randomly goes, you still want to go to Thailand? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I want to send my son, but he's only 19. So if you're willing to chaperone him, I'll pay for your ticket, which is a hell of a deal. And I'm like, I'll get him drunk, but no hookers. And he goes, perfect. Great. So he paid for my flight. I made some calls. Ray Elby was the head coach of Tiger Muay Thai at the time. So some of my fighters had trained, they'd met him. So I just kind of like, hey, you were on TUF 9, I was on TUF 11. We both lost first round, You know some of my students. So he comped myself and Taylor. So cool, we got comp training at Tiger. He goes, I'm just going to ask you to cover a couple classes, maybe teach a seminar. Happy to. You know?
Yeah.
And I taught this seminar. Brian Ebersol was there, Benny Alloway, a bunch of UFC guys were there, a bunch of like local prospects. And I don't know what it was. Tiger does an amazing job like with their videography and they're putting out their social media. But before it even hit social media, I just start getting job offers.
Really?
I got a job offer from Pattaya Combat Club, some other spot in Bangkok. This is back, like realistically, I was a 3-stripe brown belt. I was the 3rd highest ranked jiu-jitsu player in the country. Like,
okay.
And this is 2009. You know, I don't know what to do with it. So I just kind of start fielding it around. I get connected with a gym in Bangkok called EMAC. It's run by a guy named Nidhi Technotis. Nidhi is the guy who brought jiu-jitsu to Thailand.
Okay.
He did, it was very similar to like the Sheik's son starting ADCC. He did a semester abroad. He started training under Julio Saneca. And this is a guy who was on like the Thailand national taekwondo team. And he just goes, I've wasted my life. What have I been doing? And just started, he luckily had the capital to fly a guy in for 6 months, give him a place, blah, blah, blah. And I just happened to be that guy. But I ended up staying for like 3.5 years.
Oh, wow.
So I got super lucky. Nidhi's the best. I got off topic. But yeah, that's how I ended up in Thailand.
We were talking about how you go.
But yeah, that's how I ended up there. Actually, I was supposed to go earlier, but Brian Ebersol called me and he's like, hey, I'm going to fight, you know, in Jersey for the UFC. We hit it off. We spent like 3 weeks hanging out. And he's like, come help me with camp. So I moved out to Kankakee, Illinois. And I spent a couple months with him, and then I jetted overseas. He then became the head coach at Tiger Muay Thai. It was really cool, man.
Okay.
Thailand was the best.
I want to hear more about the TUF, Ultimate Fighter.
Oh.
How did you that? I watched probably the first 10 seasons,
well, I'm
like
glad
religiously.
You quit there.
So I'm trying to think back. I mean, there's a lot of fighters, so I'm like, trying to think back, and you usually remember the guys that went into the UFC. So I did watch like religiously, and then just like life happened, and then I stopped. And
It gets to be a lot.
It's a time investment. It's like people with football.
Yeah.
You know, like you have like if they're in the football and they watch all their team and they follow and they're doing the fantasy football and stuff like that. I mean, now UFC is like a year-round commitment if you're into it. But I watched the Ultimate Fighter, and then I think I stopped when they started like doing like the competitions between countries, and then like TUF Australia and TUF Brazil. Like I didn't see all those. I was just like I'm like, okay,
and keep in mind,
it's too much, Dana.
They were doing TUFs that we never saw.
Yeah.
That were TUF Mexico, TUF Brazil, TUF South America, TUF Asia, and they only aired in those regions as well. They were doing tons.
So tell me about that. How did that transpire?
That was cool. I heard about tryouts. I had just come back from a 3-year layoff. I got run over in 2006. Destroyed my lower back. L4, L5, L5, S1.
You got run over by a woman,
SUV.
A truck, a car, a motorcycle.
So not far from here, the back road leaving FAU, going to the Publix down on Federal.
Okay.
So it has like a straight shot leaving down the parking line to the red light. And I was just in line. And I was in a small Hyundai Elantra. And it just must have been perfect where like my corner was like dead set in this lady's bumper. Because, I mean, I don't know how she didn't see. She's got a car on each side. She's got a light pole in front of her and me behind her, with a line of like 30 cars waiting to get out. And she just drove on my hood, through my window. Like her wheel was like here.
What was it? What kind
She
of
was in a RAV4, if I remember. Or no, a Nissan something. It was an SUV.
Truck. Okay.
So I was in a car and she just drove on. And like it hit me awkwardly.
Yeah.
My back gets all compressed. I get twisted up. Wow. I remember I get out of the car and I walk over to her window and she looks at me, screams, hits the gas. But there's a light pole in front of you. But her wheels are off the ground. They're just spinning. And I'm like, hey. And I take glass out of my face and like looking at her window. You can't go anywhere. And she won't get out of her car. She calls her boyfriend. Her boyfriend shows up and he's like, bro, are you really going to call insurance? And I'm like, do you have a new fucking car?
Oh, shit.
You know, so that put me out for like 3 years. I was in bed for like 4 months. Like I would roll and my upper body would move and my lower body wouldn't. Like a disconnect in my spine. It was really, really bad. 3 years, therapy, rehab. I always fought the knife. You know, I had plenty of doctors like, you have to do this. I'm like, I can still walk. I'll do it slow rehab way. So when I came back, I'm finally fit. I'm finally good. And I hear
never went under the knife.
Never.
Okay.
To this day, like I've had PRP in my back 9 times. I've gone to Tijuana CPI for stem cells. Stem cells, CPI in Tijuana. Reach out to me. I'll set you up. Anyway.
Is it
fucking life-changing?
All it's cracked up to be?
Unbelievable.
I told my buddy Ray. He's got lots of problems. And I keep on telling him.
DeLuio?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Ray.
You know Ray? Oh, yeah. He's my bud.
I know Ray from back in like the All-Stars days.
I didn't know him then. I know All-Stars. He's a friend, training partner, and a client.
I love Ray. Ray's awesome.
I run the marketing for 2 of his businesses and 3 websites.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
But like, so I went, we'll just skip around. When I got the stem cells, I got my knee, I got my L3, L3, L4, L4, L5, L5, S1. And then a month or so later, I got my shoulder. There was just a mishap, so I went back. With my knee, and I've had end-to-end bucket handle tear, flip meniscus. I've had it fixed a couple times with PRP and stuff. Within 12 hours, like I'm walking on a cane. Within 12 hours, I just get up and I walk. I'm like, holy shit, I'm walking.
Really?
Like I'm walking good. The back was a little more intense, but also I'm bone to bone on 2 levels, pretty much like 4 millimeters of disc. That took about 3 weeks, but we're talking like 3 weeks of like pretty legitimate swelling and pain because they got to inject stuff into the disc and expand it and stuff. But then just one day you wake up and I'm just like, I feel great. I feel really good.
If you communicate with Ray, you really need to tell him.
I'll reach out to him.
Tell him.
For sure.
Milton told me, we were talking about CPI. We've talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, he's a Rogan listener, so he knows the whole deal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why you're doing all this stuff? He's doing some therapy right now, and I'm like, have you,
dude?
He's kind of like, I think I might have to. And if somebody told him that he knows how, that's the story you just said. If he hears this or you tell him that, he'll be there.
And if you're a guy who supports jiu-jitsu people, CPI is owned by Scotty, who used to own On the Mat, OTM. Same
Okay.
guy. Lucky Kimonos, same guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Lucky Kimonos is I know we did something with I think like the Canadian branch broke off.
I
it like
think you sold it a little while back.
Yeah, I dealt with somebody who is like runs the Canadian market, I believe, and we did like a giveaway or something way back. But go ahead.
So either way, CPI was amazing.
Wow,
fixed me up dramatically. Like I would like to do it again, and I'd like to do it right. Right meaning when I got home, I should have set up an MRI for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, just to check my progress, see how much growth I had. I didn't. I just went back like. As soon as I was good, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna do 750 rounds this year. I'm back to lifting. I'm doing like my fight team's active. I'm working with my I was just stoked to be moving well.
be healthy.
You know, so I just went hard. I didn't get re-MRI'd until the end of last year, so just about 3 years. And I went to the same MRI spot. So they do comparative MRI.
Okay.
And it showed that like in 2 of my discs, I had growth. I had regrowth of disc by like 1 millimeter or 2.
Okay.
Which isn't a lot, but your disc's only 1 inch. So if a treatment gets you 2, 3, 4 millimeters, that's massive.
It's a big deal.
It's huge.
Wow.
You know? So my plan was hopefully to become a millionaire and do it like once a year.
Yeah. Do you need it right now again?
I have 19 disc injuries. I've got 10 herniations, 7 bulges, 2 degenerations. So my plan was hit the really bad ones.
So hold on. Is that from the accident?
That
or is
so
it jiu-jitsu and MMA or all of the above?
Jiu-jitsu definitely didn't help. So in 2018, I got hit twice. So when we were talking about IBJJ, I was going to do Masters Worlds, right? Okay. I was like, okay, I'm full-time coaching. I'm training. I was like 215. I'm now 260. Fucking what's up? and so I was like, I'm going to do Masters Worlds. I'm going to go out to Vegas or LA, whichever it was that year. And I was like, I was really hype about it. I was stoked, but I was terrified because I'm in the same bracket as Cyborg and like all these other like legendary dudes. And I'm a pretty good black belt.
You got to get under 215.
Like, right?
215 is right? Is it 215 and above?
Dude, I don't even know.
Yeah, I think it's 215. I looked.
I was just fit and healthy.
I'm like, where do I got to be if I want to do IBJJF where I'm not up against like 300-pound guy?
Yeah. Like, so, and I got hit again. I was Broward by Costco, Broward by 595, and just looking to make a right turn, and a guy hits us. My head hits the door frame, and my neck goes like back. Jesus. That had me out for 2 years. 6 months after that, just on Christmas Day, just driving, you know, family to family. Some lady hit us, my wife and I, in the back doing 75. Yeah, it's like Jesus. I had like a 2.5 year stint.
Are you in pain right now? Do you have pains right now, or
if I stand up?
if I wake up, if I open my eyes in the morning,
right? I have a chiropractor, physical therapist, ART guy that I work with twice a week. His name's Steven Swearingen. Okay, he runs a spot up in Lake Park. It's called Performance Spine and Sport Rehab. He specifically likes to focus on athletes. Okay, that's his passion, but he does everybody. Not your average whack and crack chiropractor. Mm-hmm. Like his back room of his office is a hardcore gym. Like you are lifting to strengthen your chain and your improvement and all this stuff. He takes amazing care of me. I do run into nerve pain here or there. Like I had a really bad stint before I was in Taiwan for December. Before I went, where like starting in like my L4, running out through my butt, down my hip, and then circling my thigh. The only way I can describe it is like take a piece of duct tape, wrap it, put thumbtacks in it that are about 4 inches long that'll touch your bones, light them on fire, and then electrocute them. And that's like the most accurate description of what it felt like to stand still. And then you start walking. My wife not forced me. I went on a vacation with my wife to New York. We walked 33 miles in 3 days. And it was so hard on my nerves. I used my backpack as a sling for my right arm because I was having nerve pain. And I was dragging my leg. This is probably like 8 years ago. It's like, it's not great.
Is your wife ever like, all right, maybe you should stop doing this?
No, my wife's a badass.
Does she train?
No. She did judo as a kid. When I first opened the gym, she'd come in and like screw around. I have a bunch of cool crash mats. So she was like, oh, I can break fall. So she was having me like throw her and stuff. And then we started doing professional wrestling moves. and then she kneed herself in the mouth on a bump, and never again.
No, I'm done.
She was she forced me to allow her. See how that works? She tied my hands together with my black belt and then tickled me for 3. I almost pissed the bed. She tickled. It was her vengeance because I hate tickling so much. I almost broke my mom's nose in high school when she tickled me. So, okay. In Florida, we have what's called magnet schools.
There are 3 stories here right now,
There's
just so
so
you
many.
know. You
We haven't even gotten to the
I really want to hear more about your wife tying you up with your black belt. That's the more interesting one to me right now.
That's what it was. She was like, vengeance is tickling. So she just literally tickled me.
This is you're saying after she kneed herself? After she hurt herself?
Because we did like a belly to back suplex, like pro wrestling style.
Okay.
And like on the bump. She went, boom.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, she was laughing.
Kind of her fault.
Yeah, that's what I said. And then she was mad because she was laughing, but she was crying. But she was laughing so hard she was crying.
And that kept her off the mat. And then she wouldn't train after that?
Well, I mean, I got her pregnant. You know, that was part of it.
Yeah.
But that was like 7 years later.
Her fault, too.
Dude, that's what I said. I thought I was sterile. I really did. So anyway, back to TUF. I flew out to LA to do tryouts. A couple of my buddies came with me. Tryouts were cool. They had everyone in a room. They had a mat in the center. Dana White comes out and he goes, I'm going to have you guys grapple. You're going to start from your knees. I don't need to see any takedowns. I don't need to see any slams. I don't need to see any heel hooks. There's 15 of us on the panel. We are all watching you. If you caught a submission and your partner's being stubborn, let it go. We saw it. And I'm like, cool, no problem. I think they said it was 5,500. So there's thousands of people there. So I get called to grapple. I grapple some wrestler, dude. This was probably like, someone who just kind of rises to the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm good. I'm not great, but I'm pretty good. And this dude, like, he bum rushes me. I do a fallback. I catch an arm bar. He just picks me up and slams me, which is supposed to be done. He picks me up again. I just grab his leg. I'm a leg locker back in the time when the Brazilian dudes would, like, be mad at you.
Yeah.
These are thieves' moves. Why do you do this? Like, I'm old.
They were very much against it.
So this guy, I arm bar him. He slams me. I transition to a leg. I do a knee bar sweep. He rolls. I hit inside heel hook. I look at Dana. I go, and then I let it go. I pass.
Did you really?
Yes.
You did?
I arm bar his other arm. So I literally went arm, leg, arm, leg, arm, leg. I just transitioned through him. But he slammed me like 3 times. And I hit another arm bar. He picks me up. He slams me. He picks me up. He slams me. He picks me up. And I just go, fuck you. And I rack it over my hip. And it goes, brack. And then Dana goes, that's enough. And I go, I'm super sorry. But like, I mean, he was slamming me.
Yeah.
I then get interviewed by Ryan Loco. Shout out Ryan Loco. And by chance, the guy who I armbarred was sitting behind me. And I'm like, dude, I think I broke his arm. And he goes, no, you fucking didn't. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. How you doing? I'm fine. Everything's fine. 7 hours later, they do a call. Hey, these are the people we want for striking. And I'm literally the last name. And I'm like, is this a joke? Because I did talk a lot, We're there for like 16 hours, bro. I'm cracking jokes. Luckily we got 6 or 7 friends there, so we got a little clique, and we're like teasing the guys rolling. What else are you gonna do? You're bored.
Yeah.
But I guess I was loud enough that the fuckery could come back, And we do the striking. I get paired with the Sandman. Anderson Silva fought him, knocked him out with that bully punch. It was his first fight at 205. I can't remember.
It's Sandhagen?
No. His
Sandman
nickname was the Sandman.
Sandman.
He was a light heavyweight, good striker, had a bad boy tattoo on his chest. Either way, he's my pad holder, and I'd been spending time with a lot of ties, and lots of posting and shoving, and so I'm just kind of pushing him, and he's like, "Oh, I like you, yeah, let's go." But I'm like, "Hey, man, how about you wait for Mick Maynard to walk by us, and then we get it going." So Sean Shelby actually walks by us, and he's like, "Let's fucking go." I've never had that kind of output in 15 seconds, other than losing my virginity ever. But like, dude, 15 seconds of the hardest pad work I've ever done in my life. And Sean Shelby just goes, "You can stop now," and walks away. And I'm like, I was awesome, right? Like, that was good. We did good. I hope. Because he just made me feel like you fucked up. Like, you were no good. And they have us sit like another 8 hours. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Finally, they call us in. So I'm 226. I'm going for the 205 season. And they bring like 8 of us in and they go, "Hey, there's not enough talent to do a 205 season. Can you make 185? And I just go, now I started jiu-jitsu at 320.
320 pounds?
Yeah, I'll show you pictures. Where I was a big fat. My father was a pastry chef. Okay, like it's just part of life. And so at that point, I'm down to 226. I'd been fighting at light heavyweight, 205, but I'm like, I can try. And the guy goes, "I don't give a fuck what you're gonna try. If I tell you to be 185 on January 4th, you're gonna be 185. I'm like, yes. And he goes, "Great, you're on the show. We'll bring you back for interviews in 2 months." And I'm like, holy shit!
Wow, that's great.
And I go for the interviews. The interviews are crazy. Like, they brought me into a room, and there's just like 15 faceless, nameless people and the Fertitta brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know who they are, right? And this dude at the head of the table just starts talking shit to me, like fucking with me.
An interviewer?
Yeah, but he's like insulting me.
Okay.
Like, I guess he's trying to see like if you get riled up.
Sure.
And it was just the perfect combination of coffee that day.
Yeah.
And I'm zinging these fuckers.
Yeah.
I'm hitting them. I'm hilarious. I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm crushing. I have no clue who these people are. It's the president of Spike.
Oh, yeah.
It's the producer of.
That's
like,
early. That's
bro,
early on.
I am shredding these, and like bad. I get out of the room, and there's 5 or 6 fighters because we're all secluded. We're not allowed to know who's there.
Okay.
And there's like 5 guys in a line, and their handlers like, "What the fuck?" Giving my handler shit, and he goes, "They wanted them. They just wanted them." And then he explains to me, he goes, "These are 4-minute interviews. You were in there for 45 minutes.
Oh, really?
And I was like, "Is that good?" He goes, "I fucking think so."
Yeah.
I've never seen it before. And then the same thing happened like on fight week. You know, they put you up, they got the big ring light, and you know, the UFC interview where they're like in your face.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm in there for almost a half hour. Sucked up. Like, oh, fuck, I breed snakes. And I guess my personality got me on the show.
Yeah.
Didn't help much on fight day.
What did you say? You lost? Did you lose in the first fight?
Okay. Very frank. I lost. I got knocked out by Jamie Yeager. Is there a backstory? Sure. Do I want to sound like a bitch and like talk about it?
Sure.
No. But I'll give you the real. So Jamie and I were like the second to last fight to weigh in. So we get off the scale. He's very cordial. He's very nice. We get off the scale. We go to the back room. I'm like, I need 2 gallons of water. Give me 4 Pedialytes. Let me get some watermelon. Let me get some pineapple. All the things that I watched them bring in. And the guy goes, "We got Amp energy drink." And I go, "What?" I was like, "I just cut 17 pounds. Like, I need 2 gallons of water. I need 4 Pedialytes. I need watermelon. I need bananas. I need pineapple. Do you have oatmeal here? Where can I do that?" And they're like, "We have Amp energy drink. We're out of water. We're out of." And
are you gonna be fighting right away?
We fight the next day.
The next day, okay.
So I'm like, cool. Luckily, we got 4 guys from ATT on the show, so I go out and the boys share. I managed to get like 4 bottles of water, a thing of Pedialyte, but it's not enough. You know, you retain 50% of the water that you drink. So if I cut 18 pounds, I need to drink 36 or whatever, 40 something. I don't know, the math. Either way. So Jamie and I actually go out into the hallway we just sit on either side of a water fountain. He takes a sip, I take a sip. And he's talking to me, he's like, "Man, this is my last shot. You know, I got a kid, she's 3. If I don't make this, then blah, blah, blah." Like, we're just talking because I'm not too different. I was 29. Like, this is the last push, you know? And they come out and they're like, "What are you doing?" We're like, "Well, you don't have water, so we're here for the water." And they're like, "You're mic'd. You cannot be here. You cannot talk." They wouldn't let us talk in the room because they're not filming. If there's going to be conversation, there might be conflict, so they want to have film. I totally get it. And they're like, "You got to go in the room." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we go in the room. I pass out. My buddies carry me on the bus to go back to the hotel. Now, the rules in the hotel are if you open the door, you're on a plane within an hour.
Really?
Right.
Gone.
So, like, my cell phone's gone. We don't have room. They gave us, like, a piece of paper for, like, food, but they just slid it under the door. They don't, like, let you know. Like, I'm not blaming anyone for anything. This is, like, fucking
Wasn't the
2000.
ideal.
No, it
like,
wasn't.
run up to a fight.
What it boiled down to was I could have fucking died, dude. I pass out in my hotel room. I'm alone. I'm 18. I'm well dehydrated. I'm alone in my room. I get my 2 gallons of water that were left outside my door on the way to go fight the next day. Right? So I'm like, no one checked. I could have been fucking unconscious on the ground. I could have been like, whatever. And that's just how it was. I get in there, like, you ever been so hungover, everything's like gray and foggy?
Sure.
Like, that's how I am in the warm-up room.
Yeah.
Like, my joints kind of hurt. I can't get it moving. And it was just like, whatever. So I fight. I lose. It happens. What are you going to do? I wouldn't even take credit and say, oh, it's 1 out of 10. Like, Jamie Yeager was a ferocious athlete, but he was a 1-round fighter. If he couldn't finish you in 5, you were probably going to win. That's what his record says.
Sure.
And I've taken beatings from the baddest motherfuckers in the sport. So I but I wasn't in a position to do that. So, alas, I got knocked out with a kick I blocked. You know? Yeah, I was just super dehydrated. Yeah. And I'm sure that story makes me sound like a giant crybaby bitch. But I mean, that's just the fact.
But
like,
how many
okay.
people? Yeah, but
it is what it is.
A crybaby bitch to people that have never even gotten that close. Or just, you know,
like I take a lot of, or I've been told to take solace in the fact that I was 1 of 28 of well over 5,000, and I do take solace in that. It still sucks.
Yeah,
you know.
Was there a, you know, I'm always thinking of the business side of things, so I'm always curious about, like, was there a wave to ride from that helped you with business in your school, or
it actually kind of, so I found out early that my strongest skill set was in coaching. I started coaching as a blue belt, and I've been coaching ever since, so probably like 18 years now. And that was actually kind of my path. So I was 29, I'm like, all I have to do is get in the house. I don't have to win the show. And I know I'm not, because we got 4 guys from my home gym.
So, hold on.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about the time where you were fighting to get into the house.
Right.
So, you didn't
I didn't even get in the house.
Okay. Because they didn't do that later in
After
the later
my
seasons.
season, I don't think they
They stopped doing that, right?
Yeah.
You got in the house, and then you fought.
Right.
But there was a time where you had to fight to even get into the house.
I think when the cast was, like, handpicked, they didn't do it. But when there's, like, we got enough talent. Because behind the scenes, you realize the funny guy fought the funny guy. The stoic guy fought the stoic guy. The jerk fought the jerk. So no matter what, you got the cast.
Yeah.
They just did some creative matchmaking to ensure they got the cast.
Which, I'm trying to go back and think. When the show started, was it you fought to get into the house?
No.
Or did that happen later? Was it
so
everybody got into the house and then they fought on the first 10 seasons, and then after that it changed?
I think
Which
it was around season,
I don't remember.
7 or 8 that they made guys start fighting to get in the house.
To get in the house, okay.
Yeah.
And is that still the way? I mean, I don't watch now. Is that
Dude,
still
I
the way?
haven't.
You know?
I was too emotionally attached. After my season, I just couldn't watch it. When they did ATT versus Black Zillions, I watched occasionally. It was just a heart-wrenching experience.
Yeah,
it
takes you back to a negative place.
Yeah. You know,
what could have been?
If only. Because, like, realistically, it's like, I got my fingers in a lot of, like, different things. So I'm the head cut man for Gamebred FC. I'm a cut man for Combate Global. I run a gym. I do commentary for Combat Night. I doing other stuff with Combat Night. Like, I do as many podcasts as I can. So I
call me.
Hey. So I just like to do fight related things. You know, I spent a month in Taiwan. I was doing seminars all over the country. You know, I've taught in Finland and England and Germany and all these places. I just like to do things that are related to fighting a lot.
Sure.
So my plan was, I know I'm a good talker. I know I'm a good instructor. If I can just get on the show where I get TV time and get, like, my personality out, I can push into analyst work. I can push into commentary work. I don't want to be an announcer, but I can. Whatever avenue I can do. Because realistically, I'm 30. You know, like, how much more time do I have realistically? Like, I started at 21. The guys I'm training with have been training jiu-jitsu since they were 8 or boxing since they were 5. Like, I'm behind. And that's cool because I'm good at these other things. So if this can just catapult me into a place where I can be a public figure, a mouthpiece, a talking head, great. That was my only goal for the show. Like, we had 4 guys from ATT on my season. 2 guys made it in the house. But even if all 4 of us made it in the house, 2 of them fucking abused me every day.
Yeah.
I haven't scored a 10. Rich Atenito and Charles Blanchard, high caliber NCAA wrestlers. I'm 3-1. They're 10-4, 15-3. Like, reality's reality.
Yeah.
If they can beat the shit out of me every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm probably not going to win this one random Saturday.
In a cage.
You know, it's just what it is. I just needed to get there. So alas, that didn't happen. But it's okay. When I got off, we got our dates that we could. So once it aired, you were allowed to start booking other fights. Or you could fight literally the day after, whatever. So I get back and I'm just like, get me fights. Over the course of just under a year, I signed 8 contracts for 8 fights and didn't fight a single time.
What?
Just it didn't happen.
Oh.
Like, I was getting promoters going, we'll set you up. You're just on TUF. We'll get you taken care of, blah, blah, blah. And no one wants to fight you. I'm like, dude, I got murdered in 40 seconds. People should be calling you to fight me. But it just wasn't happening.
You think that just hearing, oh, he was on TUF?
I think that might be part. But also, back in the day, like, if you were an American Top Team guy, you were just feared.
Yeah.
Just from the jump.
I think it's still like that.
But now we have other gyms that are like, I'm not scared of you. I'm looking for you.
Okay.
You know, Kill Cliff, Fusion XL. They're other really good gyms. You know, so they're not like, well, we're fucking good too. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. Because if you don't think you're going to wreck shit, you're in the wrong game.
Yeah.
You know? But whatever combination of things it was, none of them happened. One was my fault. My coach pulled me. My father had passed on fight week. And I'm like, I'll still do it. And he's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
So, probably a good call.
That's rough, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember the last one, I'm like 195 pounds. I'm trying to get fights at 185. There was a local event that's no longer around. They go, oh, we got a fight for you at 205. And I'm like, if they suck, I'll fight at 205. I'm 195, you know, like, we'll work it out. And they offer me a super heavyweight, former NFL lineman who 4 weeks prior had fought at 270. And I'm like, didn't he fight on the last show as a super? He says he'll make it.
To what? Like, to 205?
To 205. 6 weeks later. And I'm like, scientifically, that's not possible.
Like not humanly possible.
They're like, well, he'll do it. They're like, no. He's not going to do it. But I just go, screw it. Give me a guarantee. So no matter, like, I'm going to make weight. I'm 10 pounds under right now. Give me a guarantee. And then when he doesn't make weight, I'll at least have my guarantee. They're like, what do you want? I was like, 5,000 flat. I'm going up arguably 2-3 weight classes. And they're like, how about 1,500 in tickets? I'm like, I retire. Fuck this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you want me to sell my own tickets to make my own money? Like, I get it as a side. Here's your show. Here's your win. And we'll give you 20% of a ticket cut. I'm cool with that. But we'll sell these. No.
Wow.
No. But that's also the dark ages, I guess.
Isn't it kind of still like...
So I'm not a big fan.
Isn't it still like that now a little bit on some of these smaller...
I'm not a big fan of how pay structure was normalized in MMA, where it's like, let's just throw it 500 a show, 500 to win. I can guarantee you, no one is fighting harder for win money. You're fighting hard because you don't want to get your ass beat. You're fighting hard because that's what you train for. You're fighting hard because that's what you do. I'm a more of a proponent of full purses. Like, yes, I can win 500 show, 500 to win, or you can guarantee me 8. Because at the end of the day, if everyone gets paid the same, 2 guys fight, you're spending $1,500. One guy gets 1,000, one gets 500. Or you pay them both $800. They're guaranteed their money, and you spend $100 more. Like, just on a small scale. Does this guy who's busting his ass for 4, 5, 6 weeks training not deserve $800 for up to 15 or 25 minutes?
You don't think that's the winner should get a little bit more, though? Is there a benefit to make, like, you know, if you win?
Well, that's what positive contracts are for, right? Now, granted, in all these local events, you don't have necessarily long-term contracts. But if you work with the same event over and over and over again, there should be a consistent pay increase. Now, I understand, hey, you don't get a raise when you lose. That's fine. But if I fight my first fight for Ben's fight show and I get 5-5, next time should be 6-6. 7-7, 8-8. Now, I understand there's a cap, but by the time you reach that cap, you're probably main eventing, co-main eventing. you probably have options on regional, national circuits. So great, because the job is to get you to a point of blossoming. You know, Combat Night is a local Florida show, and they're the premier. Like at this point, I think they've put 16 or 20 guys in the UFC.
Night,
Mitchell Chamale.
Yeah. I think we had him booked, and he couldn't make it.
He's awesome.
Like a couple years ago, I think we had him, and he had to cancel. It was on Zoom.
Yeah.
I didn't. Where is he in Florida?
Orlando.
Oh, he's in Orlando. Okay.
Yeah. He's
got him. He's got some funny.
He's got a
puts
show
out funny
tomorrow.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it always up there?
No. Dude, so Mitchell is the premier promoter in Florida, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
They've got multiple markets: Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Orlando, Fort Myers, Fort Lauderdale. And they're adding 2 more markets first, second quarter this year, from what I hear.
And are you commentating? For
I
that
comment. Whenever they're in Fort Lauderdale, I commentate for them.
Okay. Let me know when they're down again.
Tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit. Oh.
This is a heavy weekend. So
Yeah.
I got you today. Tomorrow's Combat Night. And then I'm hosting an IKF kickboxing tournament at my gym on Sunday.
Okay.
So if you're around on the 28th, come
Yeah.
get some. I don't know why I'm doing finger guns so much.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm not a finger gun
We're
guy.
definitely not going to cut it out. We're going to add. We're going to add some like little smoke.
Put a
coming
counter. 7 finger guns.
Bo's going to.
8
Bo's going
finger
to add a little
guns.
graphic of like smoke coming out.
Perfect. Bo, I'm sorry I haven't shouted you out yet, but you're doing an amazing job.
He's doing an amazing job looking down at his phone. I know.
I'm taking pictures and editing.
He's like, shoot, bro.
I am not. I pay no attention to this over here.
Who?
Bo who?
Bo knows.
Bo's awesome. Bo's responsible for all those cool. Not all of them. A lot of the videos that we put out and the pictures we put out. So, but go ahead.
You're a media mastermind. Bo knows media.
So tomorrow.
So tomorrow's Combat Night Fort Lauderdale. So I'll be there commentating that. Which I'm combatnightmma.com for the pay-per-view.
There you go.
I'm a promo machine.
This comes out after. This doesn't come out till next week.
It's okay. Well, you missed it. It was a great time.
They can watch a replay, right? They can order a replay.
Eventbrite.
There you go.
Jesus.
If we get you on again, we have to if you want to do it according to an event you want to promote.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
2 weeks before.
Hell yeah.
We record, put it out a week before the event, and then
Sweet.
Because we'll put this out. Today is Friday, by like Wednesday next week, typically.
Sweet.
The following week.
Perfect.
I'm
excited. But Mitchell runs like 6-7 markets in the state, and he's constantly putting on shows. There are times where he's putting on as many shows as like the UFC is in a month.
Yeah.
You know, super hectic. Props to him for doing it.
Yeah.
Juggling all those fighters, all those coaches. Like,
does he own a gym as well, or
No.
is he just okay.
No?
Because
he trains out of Fusion. That's just like his home base.
okay.
But I know he's a black belt.
Yeah.
He's like really involved with his fighters. Like when Val hit the UFC, he was there.
Val who?
Val the Animal. He's out of Fusion. He fought Bo Nickel.
Okay.
I
know Bo Nickel.
Yeah. So like when Hannah Goldie, when she fights, he goes and corners Hannah Goldie.
Oh,
Like,
really?
These are all fighters that he's either helped bring up through the amateurs into the pros that are now getting these large options. You know, one of my fighters, Sham Delva, was it November last year? We main evented a card, and it was basically whoever wins this is gonna get a phone call to a big show. And that's the tier he's at now. If you're fighting for his titles, if you're main eventing his cards, you got a really, really good shot of getting a Bellator, PFL, ONE, or UFC call.
Really?
I think in the last 3 years, he's put 12 guys in the UFC alone.
Really?
You know, like if you are fighting in Florida or in the Southeast region and you get the option to fight on a combat night, especially if you're like a higher end guy, like fucking do it. People are watching you.
Yeah.
The show is very well known.
Wow.
You know, so take it. Combat night.
Very cool, man. So what else do you have going on?
Oh man, there we are.
You said combat night. You said combate.
Yep.
You're a cut man for combate?
So I'm a cut man for Combate Global.
And
I'm the
they're
head cut
usually-
man for Gamebred FC.
Do they do a lot of stuff in South Florida and DR?
Yeah. So
and the Dominican Republic?
Combate Global is purely based out of Miami, Univision Studios, at the last 3 seasons.
Okay.
So it's just this closed door studio. Last season they started adding in a crowd, I think about 60, 80 people. And it's really kind of like
an Apex thing.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet. The Apex is surprisingly it's just a giant office building.
Yeah.
Like you have this thing, and then you just walk in the back room, and it's just offices and cubicles.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Good craft
Is
services.
that where they have the PI too?
Yeah.
They had
Okay, I had one of my guys.
it's all in that building.
No, it's separate buildings.
Okay.
But yeah, from what I heard, the driver told us they basically bought like 10 or 12 acres of like just outside of the busy shit Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And they built the PI, which was like 4,000 square feet. They built the Apex, and they're like, oh man, the PI is too small. We have to build a bigger PI. We're going to use the small PI for like Conor McGregor, Cowboy, Ronda Rousey, like so they can have a private 4,000 square feet. And then we're going to do this other crazy thing. I don't think it's done yet. They're doing like a massive training center, and the Apex will be like inside of it. When I went to the Apex, it was like a TV studio with some offices on the outside. It was really cool though. It was a great place.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone had like a 700 square foot dressing room with like 500 square feet of mats, a private locker room, shower, bathroom, place to chill out. It was great. I loved the Apex. It was fabulous.
Yeah.
The PI has a Michelin star chef, last time I heard.
Fancy.
And cheap. Like the fighters get like a card, like a thumbprint, and they just go boop, here's your food. And the coaches, they're like, it's $4. Thanks.
Really?
And it's like really proper. It was great.
So they did this was it just to give their fighters a place to train when they're in Vegas? But it's become more than that. Like isn't it the home base for a lot of fighters now? Like this is their training gym, regardless of where regardless of where they're gonna wind up fighting in the country.
Yes.
Right?
So
it's not just about flying into Vegas and having a place to train while you're there.
Yeah, they got a lot of really good stuff in there. Like they've got PTs, physical therapists, like massage therapists, etc. Like as a coach, I didn't really have access to all that, but I have a buddy who was on a UFC roster. He had knee surgery. They did his entire rehab at the PI. And like when we stayed, they basically took over an entire Marriott, like the kind of hotels where you have like a small living room, kitchen, like, you know, a 2-burner stove with a small toaster oven kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you can like cook, you can live there. Ngannou lived on the 3rd floor. We were on the 5th floor.
Yeah.
Like, and it was great. So my buddy just goes, hey man, I got to do rehab. I want to use the PI. They go, cool. They put him in the Marriott. And then he just goes to the PI, gets his rehab, works out. And it's because he's on roster, you just thumbprint it, boop, go in.
Wow.
So they provide a ton. The underwater treadmills, cold pools.
If you're on the UFC roster, you have access to this whenever you.
At least that's what I was, how it was explained to me while I was there. I was piggybacking off my fighter.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Dude, it was great. Vegas was awesome.
Yeah.
A little pricey, dry, nosebleeds, no good.
Yeah, been to Vegas a few times.
How much you lose?
Not a big gambler. Not a ton. How much did I drink? That's another question. That's the question.
I went to Vegas for a wedding. I discovered 25-cent roulette. Here's the system, guys. Write this down, okay? One bet load. So let's say it's $1. $1 on black. Then you take another $1 and you go on black heavy corners. So 3 black, 1 red. And you just put them on the corner. So if you put on black, it pays 1 to 1. You put down $1, you win $2, right? You put it on those corners, they're 8 to 1. Okay? So if you hit black, you break even. If you hit one of the 3 black numbers, you get 8 to 1 plus black. So you're doubling, right? And if you hit one of those reds, great. You get 8 to 1. So you'll get $2 almost every time. And that is how I got drunk as shit over 4 hours while my friend was doing pre-marriage things and I was stuck in Vegas.
Hope his wife's not going to ever hear that.
They were doing whatever they had to do. I was just drinking free cocktails.
I went to Vegas one time with no money. And my buddy would be like, here's $20. We'd go sit at the bar, put it in the poker machines. We always won. Don't know why. I'd win enough money to go drinking that night. And that's how I funded my trip, is just poker. You're getting free drinks while you're playing the poker machine. I'd win enough to go out, and then I do it again the next day.
Yeah.
And that's how I partied up in Vegas.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was.
That's what I did with the quarter roulette. I was like, I started with $10. As soon as I made $20, I put 10 in my pocket, and then if I lost, I lost. Whatever. I already have my $10. I left drunk as a skunk with $40 in my pocket. I got to tip the waitress. I tipped the dealer. I was like, hey, this is great.
It was the best and worst trip I had because I went broke. And
but you can't.
It was like, I'm broke. It's like I couldn't enjoy myself as much as I wanted to because it was like I'm like, I'm broke. What if I don't win tomorrow?
Yeah,
I got to save some of this money for tomorrow.
Every
but we always wound up. It was me and my buddy did it. We always wound up winning. And
the gods had smiled upon you.
Yeah, and we had a great time, man. Vegas is awesome. I haven't been back in a really long time.
Here's something
I just told somebody last night. I go, I would love to go during International Fight Week in the summer. Like that would be awesome. A great time to go and have tickets to a fight on top of it. Like dream vacation. That's what she said.
Yeah, do it. And then it's a write-off.
But I'm like, you don't, man, it's still a write-off because I can go promote.
Yeah.
But it's to go film there. We're not going to take this with us. We're not set up to do it. I wouldn't even want to. I wouldn't even want the stress of that. I would want to go to promote, meet people to get them on the show. Hey, when you're in Florida, or let's do a Zoom.
I mean, if they have a convention center, get a booth or something.
One camera, one mic. Yeah. I want to go enjoy myself and just promote.
Do it
because it's dual for me. It's dual promotion. It's the the marketing company and the podcast. Have you on the show, but make some relationships.
Yeah.
People become
that's
clients.
The way. Yeah, for sure. That's my weakest area. I don't bullshit. Like I bullshit well with no parameters like this.
Yeah.
But like we're going to a networking event and we're going to meet people. That's not my area. I'm like,
oh God, that's my life.
I
belong to a networking group. Like we meet every week. Online, we go out, we go meet at Top Golf, we meet with other groups.
It sounds so reasonable.
But you don't talk, but you know what? The networking that I'm involved with, you go and you just get to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
You're not trying to sell each other anything. What you want is that person to go, I got a buddy that owns a company that we could probably introduce you to. So it's just like getting to know each other so that they're comfortable recommending you to their friends, clients, family members, yada, yada, right?
Speaking of which, I've got a guy for you. Have you ever heard of Fight Circus?
Fight Circus. I feel like I probably follow them.
Okay. So
let me see if I do.
If you don't, you should.
Fights.
All that crazy Russian shit that you see, like 5-on-5 or car jitsu.
He's putting out those videos, right?
It was all invented by my buddy John, who runs Fight Circus. And then the Russians took it over and put more money behind it.
Fight_Circus and Fight Circus. Is that the one?
The one that looks like a crazy ringleader in front of a circus tent.
All right, so it's not this one. It's got to be Fight_Circus. Fight_Circus?
Do you see a guy with gray hair fighting two small people?
Yes.
That's John.
Yep.
So
that's your buddy?
That's John. So John is the CEO, promoter, and ringmaster of Fight Circus. So 2 events ago, we had Bob Sapp and Rampage do Siamese boxing with John and Woody, who is the
Siamese. So they tied together?
This was my fabulous idea.
Oh boy.
So John was coming up with crazy stuff. John was doing MMA symmetrical, 1 versus 2. Then he got crazy.
There you go. Here's Bob Sapp.
Yeah. So I go, hey, let's take jiu-jitsu belts and tie people together at the chest and the hips and do Siamese Muay Thai. I throw the right sides, he throws the left sides. Then he goes, it's easier, we'll just put them in giant shirts. And it gets nuts. Dude, we have Petzilla.
I see the shirts.
Yeah, dude, Petzilla's fighting for him.
This guy looks like Gordon Ryan almost in this picture. That's the guy that owns it.
Yeah.
He looks, in this little montage, he looks like Gordon Ryan. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, we had Tyson Fury two shows ago. Granted, he just sat in a throne and watched the fights. But it's absolute insanity.
Can you put this on screen, Christian? Instagram, Fight_Circus. Go to that video of the guy fighting. It's the one all the way at the top on the right. This guy fighting two little guys in a vest. He's got a tie on. He's got a tie and a vest on.
So
This guy's,
John
like,
was
dressed.
calling the show. He's doing the announcing, and he literally grabs a guy who's dressed as a clown and goes, "Take the mic. I got to go get my hands wrapped." Gives it to the clown, and the clown's just like, "Yeah, we'll do it." Like he's a German guy. He's like, "Yeah, we're here for the fight circus." And then John comes out, sings his own intro music. John's been on Thailand's Got Talent. He sings the national anthem like in the stadiums.
Yeah.
He's like a career farang, and
What is that?
a foreigner.
Okay.
Yeah. So he like comes out, just gets in the ring, doesn't loosen his tie, and just goes bank. No money, because he gives the Thais names, because Thai names are relatively hard. He just calls them Bank and No Money. Those are their names.
That's what he named
That's
the
what
guys
he
that he's
named
fighting?
Dude, we've got, pardon my language, we've got a team of like 8 midgets that have been working for the show.
Little people. Ben.
Little people.
Little people.
They've been working for the show since I lived in Thailand, so like 2011.
Oh, he does a
Yeah,
soccer
he punts one of the dudes in the head.
Oh,
They end up
shit.
being him. Don't worry.
Oh, do they?
They're Oh no, I take it back. They're like 6-1. I just lost my chair.
Got it? Can you find it? There we go. This is a. So this is what's his name?
John Nutt,
John Nutt. Great name.
the Duke of the S-Pats.
Wow.
So those two brothers have fought John, Stephen Panda Banks.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah,
freaking-
dude, punted him right in the head.
Wow. Jesus, that's crazy. So,
Like-
where is he putting these on?
Thailand.
This
These are
is
all
in
in
Thailand.
Yeah.
Could this happen here? This couldn't happen.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So okay,
Could you get this? Is this like it's a sporting event, so it would have to be sanctioned by
It
the
would
state,
have to
right?
be. But here's the thing: John's not marketing it as fight sports. He's marketing it as entertainment. He's going like the pro wrestling line a
Okay.
lot more. Like they could be gimmicked. They're not, but that
Yeah.
doesn't matter because it's not a sport kind of thing.
Yeah.
My favorite thing we've done was the Indian Leg Wrestling World Championships.
Indian leg wrestling.
So you have two people laying like head to feet, and they pick their leg up, and they leg wrestle, trying to make the other person do a back roll. So bracket 1 was just a bunch of models. Bracket 2 was a bunch of ladyboy models. And as we worked down the brackets, we got to the finals.
So it's a woman and a lady boy.
Yeah, because it's Thailand, baby.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
go. We've had we had Nong Rose fights for us. Nong Rose, the movies were done about her. Beautiful boxer. She was a Lumpini Stadium competitor. I don't know if she made a champion. Then transitioned. They had her fight women. 2 fights in, they're like, you can't fight women. They had her go back to fighting men, and she's maintained like a reasonably competitive level.
Still fighting? This is someone
Yeah.
still fights? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think, gosh, she's probably been fighting like. I mean, most Thais start when they fight around 4, 5, 6 years old. She's probably close to 30 now.
What do you think about that here in the U.S. about a man who transitions, becomes a woman, fighting women?
It's a hard go, man. It's difficult,
Oh.
right? Do I think it's proper? No. Do I think most people are just cheating? Yes. Like there's
Go that far to win a title? I'm going to literally
there's
transition to
a
another
girl
sex.
out of Tampa. She's a male to female trans. She's fought two guys I know from Port St. Lucie, but she fights men. She won her first fight against this. I don't care for this guy because he bailed on one of my guys on the scale. But his name's Chachi Versace. That's what he goes by. That's like his name.
Chachi Versace.
Chachi Versace. Hey. But he fought her. He lost. And she gets on the mic and she's like, all you dudes that transitioned and you're not competing with women are pussies. She's like, you know what the fuck you are. And like her, it's on the internet. You can see it.
Yeah.
But she calls them out. She's like, I'm a male to female trans and I will fight men because that's what the fuck I am.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's unfair for me to fight girls. And
The strength is still there. You don't, when you transition, you're not like the strength is still there.
I think like,
there's an I don't mean to
Yeah,
interrupt you, but
you're
I think this is a valid explanation of what I understand at this point. One of the jiu-jitsu organizations basically came out and said, jiu-jitsu or MMA organization said, we're going to follow whatever rule from this other organization, which is if you transitioned after puberty, you would have, like if you were a man and you transitioned after puberty, you are a man, even though you've transitioned to a woman, and you can only fight men. It was definitely like a jiu-jitsu organization that was following, like saying, we're going to follow this rule of this larger organization. If you've transitioned as a child before puberty, then if you were a boy that transitioned to a woman, to a girl before puberty, then you are a girl and you can fight girls.
Yeah.
And that came after there was like a big deal where a guy who had transitioned lost to a female fighter, but a lot of people were posting it. I don't know if
I saw it.
A lot of people
Tom DeBlas student who submitted him.
Yeah. And they that or whatever that organization is. Forgive me, I don't remember the names, but that organization was like, after that they got a lot of heat for that. And then they said, well, we're going to follow this larger organization's rule as to transitioning athletes, which is, puberty is the defining factor. If you transition before or after, you are transition before, then you are that sex that you transition to, and you can fight those people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Right?
I think as long as everyone knows.
Right? Yeah, right.
Like, I think as long as everyone knows. So remember Phelan Fox? She was fighting down in Miami for the XFC back in the day. But she was the one who fought like 4 girls, broke one of their skulls, like literally caved her skull in. And then
a guy that transitioned to a woman.
And then they found out that they had transitioned, and Phelan Fox was like, that's not your business. Fuck you. And that's what Joe Rogan got all that bullshit about, because he was talking about her.
I remember that.
Because this dude was a professional boxer through like up until being like 30, and then he transitioned around 33. And so he's going, dude, you fought as a guy.
Yeah.
Like, so that I have a bit of an issue with. But like after that, she fought 2 or 3 more women, but they go, you're a trans male to female. I'm okay with that. Don't care. As long as it's out in the open, you're
hiding it.
Yeah, and you have the wherewithal to make that conscious decision, no problem. None. Because I'm an adult. You're an adult.
Did he ever lose to a woman? Did he ever?
Yeah. Sarah McCann, Olympic silver medalist wrestler. I think that win is kind of what popped her into the UFC. Yeah. She abused Phelan Fox.
Yeah.
Beat the dog shit out of her.
Her?
Just wrestled her to death. Put her on the floor and just smashed her out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that they fought, but
in Miami. It was all at UM.
Wow.
Good times.
This is like the land of plenty when it comes to jiu-jitsu and fighting.
Florida is the mecca of fight sports.
Yeah.
MMA at least.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think we've become, do you think I would have said before Austin blew up that we were the mecca for jiu-jitsu as well?
Austin's really blown up, but I don't think there's that many high level. You got B Team, you got Danaher. Cool. Top tier.
If you Google jiu-jitsu Austin, Texas,
everywhere.
It's just like
no kidding.
Yeah. That's my world. That's what I help people with, is getting found on like the maps and stuff, getting found more.
But
so
like,
I've looked at it. No, I can't say that it's all like the biggest gyms, but I mean, it's more saturated than here now. I mean, it just in Austin, Texas, think of it like just Fort Lauderdale. I mean, there are a lot of schools in Fort Lauderdale, but I think that it's such a heavy concentration in Austin. It's just like, like everywhere.
That's going to make business pretty hard. But just even being that close to like 2 of the most well-known teams in the sport, being in the same city, let alone most likely within blocks of one another.
I think more people are, forget about the amount of schools, it's the amount of people that are going there now. But I mean, once Gordon Ryan went there and then Rogan coming in as well. It's like, shit. I mean, you can go as a student and be on the same mats with.
Yeah.
Rogan's pretty quiet about where he changed. Like, he doesn't really like, you don't hear him talk about like, I'm training here. And I know he was hurt a few years back, so he was like off the mats for a little bit. But like, you wouldn't know. I don't know the exact place he trains at, which is probably smart for him.
My assumption is he just has them come to his facility.
Maybe.
Like in California, like he had like a full gym. There's all the videos of like him hitting pads with Liam Harrison and Bang Ludwig and stuff.
Yeah.
So my guess is like, he probably goes, hey, how much is a private? Cool. Come to my house. I'll double it. Like it's $200. Who cares? Like for him.
I mean, I would think that, I mean, I'm a total guess because again, he doesn't put out a lot of stuff about his jiu-jitsu.
Last I heard him talk about it was like, he's like, after I got my black belt, I blew my back out again. And he's like, and I've just been doing striking.
Okay.
So, but I don't know the guy.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah. I don't listen to him as much as I used to because I'm not
On Spotify.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not. That definitely fucked. You know that for a while you couldn't shoot the video. Like I couldn't get the video to go to my. Like I would put it on my TV on YouTube. I would watch it on YouTube. I put it on the TV and then I'd work at home. I've worked at home for a long time. So with Spotify, you had to like shoot it from your phone to the TV, and you couldn't get the video. You get the video on your phone, but you couldn't shoot it to the TV. So I got to know. I'm like, I'm just don't watch it on my phone. I want to throw it up on the TV, and I want to be over here at my desk working. And you couldn't do it for a long time. And it was like there was a thing. It was like the Spotify did. There was something wrong with the way they had to like get it to the right place. So I just kind of weaned off it. Then working at home, I'm not in the, like I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm in the car and I'm driving and I'm not driving. My office is literally across the street. I could walk to my office from where I live. I don't have to really commute. I'm working from home 99.9% of the time because all my employees are remote, live in different states. So I don't have to be in an office, and clients are all over the country too. So nobody's coming in to like, hey, I'm going to stop by to like, so there's no, when am I listening to, same thing with the audiobooks. I'll only listen to audiobooks. I won't read. I'll only listen to audiobooks, and that's all out the window because I'm just not,
Agreed.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was living in Coral Springs.
But I love Rogan. I love Rogan.
Yeah, he's great.
You know, I tell people I didn't do this because I thought I wanted to be a Rogan. This totally came from just like hanging out with friends. But like, God, we should have recorded like talking about jiu-jitsu and the craziness. Like I got guys that trained with Popovich and like the Avengers back in the day.
Back
like
in town?
I don't even know. I think
I don't think so.
Isn't
I think
he like Abu Dhabi or something?
I think he's still in ADCC.
Yeah, he's in hiding. But so this wasn't because I was a Rogan fanatic. But it was just like, hey, let's do this. It would be kind of fun to do this, and then it took off. But
I mean, I would do a better job than Rogan. I'm sure you would too. Just putting it out there.
He gets a lot of heat. I definitely like Ray. Like I know Ray listens to him, and I call Ray my nutritionist now because like Ray's like constantly like, hey, you should take this
Carnivore brother.
Yeah, he's on the carnivore like heavy for a couple of years now. So I call him my nutritionist because he'll be like, he sends me stuff and I do it like, I add cayenne pepper to like all my food now, and I've gone completely off of antacid tablets. I have to take antacid tablets every single day.
Really?
For years. And he told me to start doing it for like as a replacement for blood thinner. Like I have to take a baby aspirin because of the heart attack. And he's like, do this. But that led to me, I still take the baby aspirin because I've got to ask I really want to ask my cardiologist, can I go off? But it also helped with my acid reflux.
That's crazy.
Nuts, right?
Yeah.
So like, he's my nutritionist.
Ray, I'm going to call you this week.
Yeah, talk to him about the CPI, man. That's a big deal. He's banged up right now.
Yeah.
He trains as much as he can, but he's banged up, and I mean his whole family trains. His wife got into training. That's awesome. His wife never worked out, or I shouldn't say ever worked out. She definitely didn't do jiu-jitsu. Kids were doing jiu-jitsu. They'd be like, we don't want to go today. And she'd be like, they don't want to go, Ray. Don't make them go. And now she trains more than him, and she's competing. She's competed in IBJJF, gone to Vegas. She's all about it, which is awesome.
I'm right there.
Like every guy's dream to have his wife like fucking like encourage you to get on the mats, you know, right? It's like fucking crazy. I'm realizing we're after 2. Oops. Let's we got to start wrapping it up. Let's do our I think we can start calling it a speed round again, but we call it the
drill down.
We spare no expense on sound effects. All right, so I'm going to go down some of these questions. So let's go preference, gi or no gi?
Gi.
Takedown or pull guard?
Takedown.
Music during rolling?
Like yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then music preference. What's your go-to? What do you want to listen to when you're...
How honest are we really being on this?
100%. This is like...
Okay. There's the difference between class roles and like extracurricular roles.
So class roles.
Class roles. So I stopped
Open mat. You have an open mat, right? Open mat, what are you throwing on?
I sadly stopped playing music at my gym.
Okay.
Because I'm getting annoyed by music companies that want you to pay them to run a radio. So I'm like, I'd rather just not have a radio.
Okay.
Fuck you.
All right.
But left to my own devices, competitors, something a little more aggressive. Civilians, something a little more chill.
Yeah.
But
I like everything. It's like the coach puts something on and it'll resonate with me, whether it's like 80s rock or he puts on Brazilian music or a little Bob Marley. I love it all, and it definitely affects how I roll.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
for
I'm
sure.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Like that's a different role. Than,
I'm over here like I just died in your arms tonight.
But listen, mixed in some 80s rock. I love that.
Bro,
My coach is
best.
not into. He won't play 80s rock. But I literally listen to everything. So I can like be like, I'm a little bit of an asshole that I'll sing to my training partner, especially if I'm beating them.
Oh,
And then kind of singing in their ear a little bit. I always think that's fun. And if I am getting beat, it throws them off because like I'm getting the better of you and you're singing. It's always like a mind fuck.
you're like, I've been missing.
All right, next question is annoying thing. You're a coach. Annoying things that students do. What's your number one, like, your biggest pet peeve?
Don't fucking listen. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Like, I've created a lesson plan. We're working on these things. So let's work on them. I like head kicks. We're doing jujitsu. I kick things. Fucking Christ. So yeah, don't be uncoachable.
Yeah.
That
I do that. I don't do that. What I do is being coachable. I'm a bit notorious. I'm trying not to do this, but being older, not super flexible, little back hurts. We'll do something. I'll be like, yeah, that just doesn't work for my body. So I'm going to do it this way, or, and then my coach will come over and he'll be like, but if you do it here, and then oh shit, I can do it.
yeah.
But I'll be like, oh, I'm trying to tell him why I'm not doing the move the right way, or, well, I can't really do it, so I'm going to do it this way. And he'd be like, move your butt, like, and
Yeah.
like, fuck, he was right. He's always right.
There's nothing wrong with personalizing or expanding. There's a problem with disregarding.
Yeah.
Right? I don't do a ton of new school jujitsu. I like tried and true. Also, again, I'm an MMA background more so than anything. So like my jujitsu is tainted. I'm not fast passing because I still think about getting punched and kicked in the
Sure.
face. You know what I mean? So it's just like how we're addressing. Now, if you're a pure jiu-jitsu competitor versus a fighter versus a hobbyist or serious, that's all cool. I got a guy who's 400 pounds. I got a guy who's 98 pounds. They're not going to do the same things the same
Sure.
ways. But it's important to me that your first 10 reps, do it my way. And then now you at least have the mechanics. You have your pivot points, your securities. Like, when a guy is a rock climbing, they always pin in. So if they fall, they only fall one link.
Yeah.
I have a stop point, basically the same thing. Hit your stop points. You can adjust in the middle, you can change it up, but you got to make sure you're not going to fall too far back.
I tell people, I'm going to teach you how to do it by the book. And this is actually like business-wise with marketing and jiu-jitsu. I'm like, I'm going to teach you by the book, but you're going to wind up figuring out how it works better for your body.
Yeah.
Like simply like just like breaking the guard. Some people like to put this leg out first. Some people like to put the leg in the butt first and then go out. I'm like, I put my leg out first. So a lot of coaches teach it like, no, get foot in the butt and then stretch the leg out. I feel like I'm going to tilt over. I'm big on the top. If I don't put this leg out first and I put my foot in the butt and I try,
yeah,
you're gonna sweep me. So I do it this way. I go, figure out what works for you. Like, I'm gonna teach you by the book.
Yep.
I'm gonna teach you how the coach teaches it. If in situations where I'm like working with a new guy, which happens, like if it's a big guy and he's a white belt, be like, Milt, hey, grab him, show him some basics. So like I'll by the book, but then you're gonna figure out what works for you, and
yeah.
Like you said, how did you say, preference or something? You
You
said,
just got to make it your own.
yeah. So
Like, I had an argument with someone. They're like, do it how I showed you and do my jujitsu. Like, there was a guy, I got into it over like an Instagram post, like sharing it with a buddy of mine. And the guy's like, being a jack of all trades is a negative. You want to impart your game, but that's just not how I view it. Like, I can't paint, I can't draw, I can't play piano. This is my art. This is how I paint my pictures. This is my self-expression. So who am I to be like, you have to be me because you're you. So it's my job as an instructor to give you as many options, ways, pathways, and you're going to attach yourself to what you attach yourself to. I could show you a triangle every day for a year, but if you got short, stubby legs, you're not doing triangles great. So I figure I just got to give you the paint and the brushes, and you got to paint the picture.
I was not going to bring this up on this podcast.
Uh-oh.
A listener who I train with last night went out to my car, and this guy says to a blue belt, this is a purple belt talking to a blue belt, he's like, I don't want to see you doing that anymore. I don't want to see you rolling like that. You shouldn't be getting beat by these blue belts. And I listened and I gave my opinion. And then I went home and I told him, I sent him a voice message and I said, nobody should be telling you why you're there or should tell you what your jiu-jitsu should look like, other than your coach. If your coach maybe says that to you, okay, you take it, but you still have to make this your own. You're here for a different reason than him, and him telling you, and I have respect for both of them. It's not a disrespect thing. You need to train your jiu-jitsu the way you're training. This guy, you mentioned being really heavy. He was super heavy, lost a ton of weight, and I'm trying to tell him, like, your jiu-jitsu, this is your journey. Nobody should be telling you. Another student should not be telling you, I don't want to see you lose to that guy anymore. I don't want to see you do this. And I didn't say it in the conversation, but I said it to him privately later, just through a chat message. I'm like, listen, I respect him, but your jiu-jitsu is your jiu-jitsu. If you want to be kind of a nice guy, pull guard, let people work, then you're that guy. If you want to be a little bit more mean and aggressive, that's your choice, but nobody should be telling you, not me as a black belt, not him as a purple belt. The only person that really maybe matters is the guy that's going to put the belt on you, which is your coach. And even my coach is not going to talk to anybody like that. He's going to help you make jiu-jitsu right for you. So we actually kind of had that conversation about, this is your journey. You know, you shouldn't, that's noise. That's noise, and nobody should be telling you what your jiu-jitsu is supposed to look like or be when you're there for a completely different reason. You're not going to compete. You're not getting in the cage. You're not doing this, that, the other thing. So anyway. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to move forward to the big question that we always ask. Did you say gi or no gi before?
I said gi.
Gi, okay. So do you or do you not wash your jiu-jitsu belt?
Yeah.
You wash it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, because you're not a stinky bastard and you're not a dirty...
Do I do it as often as my gi? No.
Yeah.
But semi-regularly?
I haven't washed my black belt yet. I'm spraying it with Lysol, and I hang it.
Are you like a bad juju guy?
No, I've always washed my belts. I've taken a lot of heat for washing my belt. That's why we asked the question, because my former co-host used to argue. He's like, no, you don't wash it. Some of the reasons have been like, you don't wash off the juju. It's the blood of my, the fallen.
When you wash the black belt, it will turn into a white belt.
Yeah. And then I think the argument, the best argument I've heard is like, it makes it look more worn and making it look like you train more. That Wagner was on the show. He said that, and he was like, you don't wash your belt. I'm only not washing it because it's my black belt. Yeah. And this is like the last one I'm going to get, so I do want this one to last as long as possible.
I'm on my second or third one.
I've had two belts other than white belt. I've had two belts I've had one of my own and probably like one from Flow and Roll, because he's either given it to me or I've just gotten one, and I've had both. I just always get home, I throw the gi in the wash, and I throw the belt in. Not a big deal. Yeah. Only because I want my black belt to look, a little bit more black for a little bit longer, and I don't know. It's just so now I'm spraying it, and it's no big deal.
My first black belt I didn't wash, and it is like
tattered.
I can't untie it. Like I had to get a new one because the knot wouldn't come undone anymore.
Yeah.
And the new one, I'm like,
is it all like frayed and stuff?
Yeah, it looks awesome. But the new one, like, I'm getting my stripes like blah, blah, blah.
Like embroidered?
Yeah, embroidered. Yeah. It looks so much better. Oh,
yeah.
That's great.
That looks good. I'm a little bit away from that. I got a few years before I have to worry about that.
December 3rd was my 9-year anniversary.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oof.
All right.
Thank you to Feito IT and AV, specializing in commercial and residential automation, security cameras, CCTV, POS, and more. Check them out at feitoitav.com or call 305-428-2515 and let them know the dummy sent you. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Listen, Ben, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
You were
sorry I
ball.
wasn't more funny.
No, you're hilarious. We recorded all that stuff you said in the beginning, and we're gonna bribe you. We're gonna blackmail you with that. But thank you for watching and listening, everybody. Check us out at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies on Instagram for all the ways to watch, listen, and support. My personal IG is Uncle Milty BJJ if you want to connect with me. Again, thank you for watching and listening, everybody. Peace, love, Jiu-Jitsu.